doesn't work yet.
У нас модератор є.
Вітаю вас.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to see everybody who joins us in Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform. My name is Olha Atamanova. It's been 10 years of the war, and today is day 631 of the full-scale invasion of our homeland by Russian aggressor. And I traditionally want to thank the representatives of all the mass media who tell the world the truth about our heroic resistance. Today we have invited you for a very important event. Today we will sign the agreement with the World Food Program of United Nations in Ukraine to expand the school meals program supported by WFP in 11 regions. So after the event, we will proceed to the signing of the agreement. Then we will have a small briefing, and you, dear journalists, will have an opportunity to ask your questions from our speakers, from our guests. So it's my pleasure to see all of you gentlemen here. Let me introduce our speakers today. Joining us in this studio are Andriy Stashkiv, Deputy Minister of Education and Science of Ukraine. Also joining us is Matthew Hollingworth, United Nations World Food Program Country Director in Ukraine. Also joining us is Ruslan Kravchenko, Military Governor of Kyiv region, and Ihor Taburets, Military Governor of Cherkasy region. Also joining us online are the military governors and the civil governors of different administrations. You can see all of them on the screen. I hope you, dear friends, are seeing and hearing us too. So, Mr. Andriy, let's give the floor to you. Please tell us about this agreement. Why is it important? Thank you, Ms. Olga. Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here. I would like to emphasize that it's a logical continuation of that reform that was initiated back in the year 2020. However, due to COVID restrictions, it was suspended. Children were not going to school. They were not getting quality meals in schools, and after the beginning of the war, the remote school training was in effect, but children cannot wait, and the school meals should continue and it's again the continuation of that school meals reform that we've presented this Monday. It was presented by the First Lady and the Prime Minister of Ukraine. And the support of the capacity of the local governments is very important in this sense, because they are responsible for quality meals in the schools. I think is the first step to develop the capacity of the local governments in those 11 regions who are about to sign this agreement today, and they will give an example of development and support of the school meals reform. Thank you very much, Mr. Matthew. First of all, thank you very much for being here with us, and secondly, I cannot help but asking, what do those agreements tell us about? What do they describe? Thank you.
So first of all, thank you very much, Deputy Minister Olga, for inviting us here today for this wonderful event. Obviously, the World Food Programme is absolutely committed to supporting the government of Ukraine, the people of Ukraine, and very importantly, the Oblast authorities in the process that you have already started to improve nutrition and school meals to help children at schools develop and become everything they can be in terms of reaching their potential. A hot school meal every day, a quality nutritional school meal every day can make the very big difference to children's ability to really flourish and gain what they should be gaining from education. The people of this country, including the children of this country, have been devastated by the full-scale invasion over this past 21 months, and as you rightly said, from the war that began 10 years earlier. So many families displaced, so many families with livelihoods that have been interrupted, that have become unemployed, that have lost their homes and their assets. At some point, peace will return to within the borders of Ukraine, and the children of this country will be the ones who, as young adults, will change this country for the better. And so we need to do everything in our power at this point, even at primary school and above, to help them flourish. So the World Food Programme is delighted to be expanding a partnership that started in February, earlier this year, with the Ministry of Education and Science, so that we can expand supporting Ukraine's important subsidiarity goals of helping local authorities really take on these responsibilities. So expanding to 11 oblasts so that we can help almost 60,000, 61,000 children across 11 oblasts in 420 schools. And our hope is that this is the beginning of something. This project to subsidize food, school meals, can be something that we can expand even further in the future. So I'm delighted to be here today to sign these agreements, but I don't think it's the last time I'll be here, because we'll continue to expand this project and help the people of Ukraine, the children of Ukraine, parent-teacher associations, schools, the Ministry of Education and Science, to really continue the wonderful developments that you've started in this nutrition reform.
Дякую, пане Меттю. Перед тим, як перейти
Thank you very much, Mr. Matthew. Before we proceed to the signing, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Vasil Kazitsky, the military governor of Lviv region. So, Mr. Vasil, in a couple of minutes, we are about to sign these agreements. So, how intense is this support for the regions? Mr. Matthew, Mr. Deputy Minister, we would like to avail ourselves of opportunity to extend our appreciation to the efforts undertaken by you, by the First Lady. We want to thank the World Food Programme, the United Nations Organization, for all the support, not only in this project, but also for the assistance to the Lviv region since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. This program gives us the opportunity to rectify the situation in the communities. Some communities have better capacity to ensure quality meals for the children, but for others, this support, for which are poorer, this support is incredibly important. Thank you for ensuring equal opportunities for all the kids, for equal opportunities for education, for quality hot foods, and we would like the number of schools in Lviv region involved in this program to be increasing further on, to make sure that since the early childhood everybody has equal opportunities to be healthy and to be fed. Thank you very much, Mr. Maxim. So let us proceed to signing the agreements. for understanding of our journalist community, everybody who joins us, all the governors of the civil and military administrations are about to proceed to signing the agreements. Let's proceed to the procedure. Well, first is Kyiv region.
Yes. Okay. Is the same?
У нас є друга сторона щиту.
On the back side, please.
Тож,
Well, the military governors of Kyiv and Cherkasy region have just signed an agreement right in front of you. 7 more regions signed the same type of agreements online with you. So my congratulations. I want to thank everybody who joins us online. Thank you for being with us. We're letting you go. We understand that your schedule is very concentrated, and we remain with our speakers here in the studio. So Mr. Andriy, let's talk a little bit about the situation with the school meals for the time being, and to what extent these agreements will cover the need. Are they sufficient or not? Well, thank you very much, Ms. Olga. So talking about our goal as a strategic goal of the Ministry of Education and the government in general, is our goal is to ensure the free meals for the children of the primary school, 1st to 4th grade, and preschool educational institutions. There are 1.5 million of such students for the time being. Some of them are studying offline, some of them are studying online, but for the time being there are only preferential categories of children who are provided with their free school meals. It's about 700,000 students, and the number is growing because the preferential category also now includes those children who were affected by the war. And unfortunately, year to year, this number is growing. And this is why we want not only the preferential categories of children to have the free meals, but also all of the children studying in grades 1 to 4. And we have good examples when the territorial communities, as it was mentioned by Mr. Kozysky, when they have their own budgets and they can provide such free meals for all the categories of children in primary school, both preferential and non-preferential categories. But we want to spread this experience throughout all of the Ukraine, no matter whether the communities have such capacity to do it themselves or not. This is why we've signed this memorandum with WFP that contemplates this type of support for the communities. First pilot project was in Kyiv region, is the second year when Kyiv region is taking part in this project. And within this project, 30% of the cost of meals in the schools will be covered by those funds provided by WFP. And I want to thank WFP because that's really a very significant amount of money. We understand that it's not so cheap to provide diverse and quality food to children in schools. Our task is to set the same menu for all categories of children, no matter if they belong to preferential or non-preferential categories, or those are the children who get the meals at the expense of their parents. In coordination with the Ministry of Economy, we work on balancing this situation, and we want to avoid the situation when some children get meals for 15 hryvnia per day and other children get the same meals for 120 hryvnias per day. And WFP project will help us to balance this situation. But extending financing is not sufficient. Also, we need to support the nurses who control the cooking process and the cooks themselves. And the Ministry of Education, before adopting this strategy, was exercising the organization of culinary hubs. There was such a hub opened in Kyiv region where the school cooks, school chefs are being trained, and we want to expand this network all across Ukraine. We've opened 6 such hubs for the time being, and shortly such hubs will be opening in more regions of Ukraine. Well, we need to provide funds to train the chefs. Yes, the government helps here, and you know the state budget for the next year contemplates 1.5 billion hryvnia for modernization of school messing halls, and every school may apply for such bids, and we want them to be the complex solutions that contemplate new equipment, organization of meals according to the requirements of HASP, the new design of kitchens, and the new design of the food halls themselves. So we want to provide the quality food for our children in our schools and preschool educational institutions. Mr. Matthew, we understand that such a pilot project was launched in Kyiv and Kyiv region. According to your evaluation, can we say it was successful, and this is why you decided to scale up the project? And talking about this project specifically that has started today, what is the amount of money that you plan to extend for it? Thank you.
So I think the explanation on the success of the pilot is that we're here today. We're here today and we're able to expand beyond the Kyiv region to 11 oblasts. But as I said, this is going to be another stage, another phase in this program. Through very, very supportive contributions by the government of France, the people of France who are genuinely engaged and committed to supporting through the Ministry of Education and Science and the Oblasts to keep kids in school, to alleviate the burden on displaced families, on families affected by the war through this subsidy, we've been able to expand. But we would like to expand further. So as I said, we've moved now from supporting approximately 12,000 children around Kyiv to now 60,000, 61,000 children across the 11 oblasts. But this is the beginning. As I said, we want to go further. What's very, very important, I think, for donors that support this program is that we are providing a subsidy support to local authorities and to parents themselves who are also putting their hands in their pocket to make sure their children get a healthy meal. So this isn't a World Food Programme initiative. This is a Government of Ukraine initiative. This is a People of Ukraine initiative that we are very proud to support and to subsidize, because it demonstrates that this government, the authorities for years now, in fact, not only since the full-scale invasion, since before the invasion, had this in mind to expand, to improve, to increase the quality of food. We're only helping because of the full-scale invasion. The World Food Programme is here only because we are needed at this stage. But the lasting impact, the improvements that are being made, are going to have structural, long-term improvements of how you educate children in this country. And I think this is why we are so happy, why the French government is very happy, and as well as other donors, including the private sector, to help and support this initiative while it's needed. I won't give dollar figures to it, because at this stage I'm not sure that's the biggest important in terms of indicator. The indicator is 61,000 primary school children, preschool children are going to be helped. Their families are going to be helped when they need it. And as we continue to demonstrate the impact and the successful impact of this program, we're going to expand it further.
Дякую, пане Меттію. Пане Руслане, ми вже знаємо.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matthew. Mr. Ruslan, we know that this pilot project started in Kyiv region, so just a couple of words about its implementation. How did it help to change the quality of meals for our school children? Good morning, everybody. Yes, right. In year 2022, Kyiv region was the first one to take part in this project of WFP. Well, we've underwent this project successfully, and today we've signed the new agreement which contemplates expansion of funding and expansion of the whole program. Back in 2022, this project helped us to support 58 schools with free hot meals. We've covered more than 20 communities under this project. So what was improved? We've improved the quality of meals, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. We've relieved the load on the expenses of parents 50%, and we've increased the number of children which were fed under this program from 7,200 to 9,300. This time the project will cover 81 schools in more than 50 communities. So this project helps us to implement the program of the First Lady, Healthy Child, Healthy Meals. And I'm not afraid to say that Kyiv region is the flagman in development of this project, because we're almost through the reform of school meals. And United Nations World Food Programme helps us improve and expedite the implementation of First Lady's program, because we fully cover children, we fully provide children from 1st to 4th grade with hot meals for free, and it allows spending the budgets of the communities to improve and modernize the equipment, the kitchens, to procure more modern equipment, and also it helps us to finalize the healthy child, healthy meals reform in schools, we've also created 3 training hubs where the chefs are being trained. We've implemented the program under which the chefs who were trained then come to their workplaces where they can train their colleagues. And for the time being, we've got more than 1,000 personnel trained in that way. And during the last meeting, we had a lot of meetings lately during which we were sharing our experience with other regions. And the First Lady mentioned that we need to proceed to the reformation of meals program in the kindergartens. And I can say that we are on the stage of finalization of meals reform in the schools, in the primary school, and we proceed to the kindergarten. So I think it's a colossal leap. It's a colossal reform. It's a colossal program. In coordination with our international partners, we implement healthy way of life, the healthy future of our nation, because children are our future. And why is the reform itself important? Because the meals habits is something that becomes inherent in schools. Well, back in my day, I was coming to the kindergarten, and the most delicious thing I remember from back then is a borscht and a cutlet, you know, with a porridge. So those are the habits that I got back in the kindergarten times, and now I'm trying to eat healthily, but my weight is fluctuating. It's like 10 kilograms plus, 10 kilograms minus, but I'm always looking for this taste of borscht. So if you form this habit in children, habit of healthy meals, they're not going to look for something more salty. They will grow up more healthy, and it will be the healthier future of our nation. Thank you very much, Mr. Ihor. You've just started, like the other 11 regions of our country. So are you ready for the implementation? And what is the number of the schools that will work under this project as soon as it starts working in your region? Well, good morning, everybody. It's our pleasure, the pleasure of all the Cherkasy region, to join this project that was initiated by the First Lady of Ukraine, and one of the tasks that we've set for ourselves during this war is to make sure that the majority of our school children start this curriculum year from the 1st of September in a normal, usual format. And now we've almost achieved this goal. 90% of our school children study in offline mode, and since this way is accessible to us today, we can join this program that will further assist the development of the education process, including the meals for the children. We can say that in this project we involve 43 of our schools across 17 communities, territorial communities. It's a good opportunity for the communities to be co-financed, to pay more attention to reforming of education system. We have 457 educational institutions in total across the region, and we treat it with understanding when the children have good quality meals. Many communities, I have to recognize, are able to pay less than 30 hryvnias per child per day. So when children get healthier food, they will perceive it better, and they will come to the schools with pleasure. Unlike Mr. Ruslan, I cannot say that I was fond of borscht back in my day, because borscht back then was so. I support all of our efforts to make sure that the borscht is just as delicious as my mom used to cook, and I'm convinced using this joint effort we will achieve that culture of meals, that quality of meals that will grow into a maturity of our nations. When those school children graduate from schools, that they understand how to feed their families properly in a proper and healthy manner. And using this opportunity, I would like to thank Mr. Matthew and WFP. I think this is one of the key humanitarian programs in the whole United Nations system, and they don't only support us in this project but also in other initiatives in the educational system. And I hope that with the help of our partners we will win in the education field, but also bring our victory over the enemy closer. So we will take all the effort to make sure those reforms are implemented, and we take pride in our school children and our educational institutions. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. Please join our conversation if you have any questions, and let me ask the questions that maybe everybody want to ask. I would like to ask you, Mr. Andriy, you, Mr. Matthew, we understand that now the number of regions is 11, so do you plan to expand this program over other regions? Thank you. Well, I think that, as it was already said today, it's only the beginning. And within the framework of existing memorandum that we've signed with WFP, we may safely say that the number of educational institutions involved in this program may be increasing. We'll see how this project will be implemented, and we will be working on its expansion to get more and more schools included. Now it covers 11 regions. It's almost half of Ukraine. So we're already halfway done on covering all of the Ukraine. We understand training, education is an important process. Upgrading of infrastructure is very important too, but another matter of concern to our communities is the logistics and supplies. So how is it regulated under existing agreements? Who will supply the products under these agreements? So the supply of products is stipulated by those who order the food under the agreements. So they could be the schools who request the supply, sometimes the companies who organize and operate the meals project in schools. They are the ones procuring the products, and this program always gives them the opportunity to procure the foods from local manufacturers, and the support of small and medium-sized businesses is thus supported in those regions. And during the summit of school meals in Paris, we were saying that 1 hryvnia invested in school meals is returned as 9 hryvnias of return from healthcare system, from agriculture, and so on and so forth, because the children grow healthier, the local businesses are being developed. So it's a huge support not only for the school meals program, but also for small and medium-sized businesses in the regions. Well, WFP was talking in dollars, we're talking in hryvnias. Mr. Matthew, I would like to ask you, to what extent are you going to monitor the implementation of these programs in the region? Are you going to continue supporting, assisting, or will you continue monitoring the success of implementation of the programs? Thank you.
Olga, I mean, as I said previously, for us, we are very much in a supportive role to the authorities, to the local authorities, and the schools themselves. Our role is to make sure that the subsidies we provide have the greatest impact in terms of supporting vulnerable families to be able to afford school meals, hot meals for their children, but also to continue the great work that's been done on improving the dietary diversity and nutrition impact of the school meals. Now, to do that, yes, there is an aspect of monitoring, and each time the schools and the local authorities report back to us on how the money has been spent, what it's been used for, the meals that have been provided. It is based on those reporting and that partnership that then the next level of funding is provided. And so there is a great deal of oversight involved, because the authorities themselves want to make sure that the impact on the children is greatest. The schools, the parents, and indeed the World Food Programme, and the funds that we steward on behalf of donors to make sure that the support has the greatest impact. So yes, there is a whole loop of feedback to ensure that the support that's provided has the best impact on the children of this nation.
Дякую вам, пане Меттію. Останнє питання буде до вас, пане.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew. The last question to you. If you have any feedback from children, from schools, from parents, can you please share it with us? Well, the communities and the schools and the children, everybody is really happy, because the last meeting we were organizing in the regions, for example, a kindergarten, the meals are being prepared there in compliance with the new reform. For example, it's not the parents who pick the meals for their kids, but the kids themselves. They are being provided with the lists, with the menus. Yeah, they have the list of meals that they can pick from, some healthy food. And the feedback from the parents is, like the mother says, you go to the kindergarten and find out the recipe, because they cook it better than we cook it at home. So it is the same thing happening in the kindergartens and in the schools, that United Nations World Food Programme helps to provide food, hot meals for the children, to decrease the expenses for meals by the parents. And thus we ensure healthy hot meals for the children in schools, and we expect to start implementing the same thing in the kindergartens. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining our broadcast. Once again, I want to congratulate everybody with these new agreements. More than 60,000 kids are going to get hot meals in the educational institutions, and thank you for making this thing happen. Thank you for implementation of this program. Thank you very much, dear journalists, for your attention to this topic, and we continue working together for our victory. We want to thank our security and defense forces, thanks to whom we can continue improving and even holding events like this. Glory to Ukraine.